Hi, welcome to HAL HQ. I'm currently preparing for a couple of trips that I've got coming up next weekend, and I thought I'd just take this opportunity to show you some of the kits that I take. I always carry a small pouch with me. It's often called a possibles pouch or an essentials kit. This is my belt pouch, so this is what I carry on my waist. Some of the time it's in the rucksack, but pretty much whenever I go out, whether it's for a day hike or half a day, I'll have this kit with me. Yeah, let's just dive straight in. So I need to go through this as part of the preparations, so I just thought I'd bring you along with that and you can see what I use. So this is a canvas pouch by Brian at Journeyman Handcrafts. I'm very proud to be an ambassador for those. I wanted one of these pouches anyway, which is why I kind of contacted them in that vein. But yeah, so it's just a nice little pouch with some clips on the back. And we'll just dive straight in. So first thing right at the top, folding knife. It's just found it in TK4. Most of the time that'll be in my pocket, to be honest, but I keep everything in this pouch when I'm not in the woods, so I know where everything is. So that's kind of the benefit of using this system as well, is that you've not got stuff in 3 different pairs of trousers all clipped into the pockets and things like that. When I come home, everything comes out of the pockets into the pouch, and that way whenever I head out I know where all my kit is. So that would be the pocket knife that I take. Just a little locking folder. Alright, so in that kind of vein, some of the stuff that I would generally have on my person but lives in the pouch when I'm not out is my lifeline that goes around my neck most of the time. So on there we've got the 2 kind of essential things I'd consider on there, which would be a whistle and a little torch. It's just a little, is it a Freedom Photon? Inspired by Paul Kirtley's excellent blog. Those are 2 of the things that he carries. The first thing I teach people on courses is that more often than not, if you get into a tricky situation outside, you're going to be calling for help. So if you're anywhere in a populated area, more likely than anything, the best way to get you out of that situation will be to call for help. So being able to signal with a whistle and a light, even if you've called mountain rescue and they're on the way to your location, having a means of contacting them in short range is critical. And then I've got an old fire steel on there, really reliable steel. It's worn at the end, you can see, because I've used it so much. The tip actually broke off, but I've still got 2/3 of a usable fire steel there, which is why I have that. And then I've got tweezers as well, so prevalence of ticks and, to be honest, splinters and bits of bracken and brambles and all sorts. Having some tweezers is really handy. So that's on my neck, and just as a sort of side function of that, we can create sparks with the tweezers if needed. So that's always around my neck whenever I go out, and like I said, it just lives in the pouch when I'm home. I also have my full-size fire steel as well in there, usually in my pocket. Like I say, especially if I'm canoeing and I want fire lighting on my person, I'll always have that little fire steel with me anyway, but yeah, I usually have that clipped into the pocket. And I have that tied up with a lanyard that is, it's the fire cord version of the paracord, so I can't possibly ever imagine needing to cut into this to get the tinder out of it, but if I am in dire straits and immobile, at least if nothing else, there's some morale going on in knowing that I've got tinder with my fire steel. Alright, I then have my cuts kit, which I'll come back to. I think that's the one I particularly need to go through. I've then just got some paracord, so that's probably somewhere in the region of 6 to 10 feet of paracord there. Good for all sorts, any and every possible application, that's why that's in there. Alright, I've then got a torch, so just a small light. That's an Olight S10R Baton 3, technical. It's a nice little torch. It's got a very bright feature which kills the battery in about half an hour, but it's also got I think it's like half a lumen kind of moonlight mode, which will last for a couple of days apparently. I've never actually tried that, but I like the touch. Very, very little, very durable. It's got a little clip on there, and as any of you who follow me will know, I'm quite often wearing a baseball cap, and that just clips onto the beak of that and works really well as a headlight, so I like those a lot. And if I'm going to be carrying a torch, I've also got the spare battery to go with it as well. Alright, then diving in a bit further, I've got a lighter. I use these lighters all the time, you know, to light fires, funnily enough. But yeah, I like this model in particular because I've got in my my bigger kind of survival dedicated survival kit and repair kit that I take on expeditions, a little blowtorch lighter, which is brilliant for all kinds of repairs, especially on the canoes, and that's loaded with one of those, so it's just like a modification kit that turns that type of lighter into more of a turbo flame type lighter. Really, really good, and you can refill that anywhere, then you don't have to refill it from the butane. Maybe I'll get that out, it's in the kit down there somewhere. But yes, a lighter. I then am often writing articles for the Bushcraft journal, so I've always got a notepad with me and a couple of means of writing. Little Sharpies, Ace, you can write on anything with those, and then a pencil. I should probably do with renewing that, it's getting a bit short. But yeah, so having those there as well. Those are also really good for, again, less than favourable circumstances when you might need to make some notes, location stuff, feeding back to mountain rescue, or patient care stuff if you're dealing with a casualty, being able to make notes and monitor their progress, that sort of thing. It's always good to have some paper to do that on. And again, harking back to the ticks, I also have a specific tick removal tool, so that'd be my first choice if we're going to be getting ticks out. Those little, I forget what they call these actually, Tomo Twist tools, I think, but I've found that to be the best thing to get ticks out, especially on other people where they're a little bit maybe not so used to getting ticks and a little bit nervous. It's quite a funky looking thing, and there's no kind of sharp pointy bits, so if you whip out the tweezers and dive at somebody, they might get a little bit nervous. Having something that looks fairly innocuous, I found is actually quite a good ease to their anxiety. You can just pop out the ticks without worrying them too much. They also work really well, which is a key thing. I then have just a couple of loose plasters, so I've got a full cuts kit in there, which I say I'll dive into in a second. But I just have a few just random plasters thrown in for just general cuts. So they just sit. I don't mind if they get wet, if this kit will get soaked, but they're just in there. I then also have my sharpening stone, so the DC4 by Falniven. Really, really good stone, really popular. I'm sure many people know what that is. I've got another video on YouTube on how I use this to sharpen a knife, and I've actually got a little clip as well that we filmed after a course one day of me sharpening an axe with that as well. So if you'd like to see how that works, go and check out those videos. That's all I carry for sharpening tools when I'm in the field, nothing else. I have then got 2 bits of wax card, so this is the fire card stuff you can buy from bushgear.com, but that's about the best man-made fire lighter that I can find, that just packs down really, really small, burns for a long time. You can light it with some really small sparks off the fire steels, as well as obviously with a match lighter, that sort of thing. So in terms of fire lighting kit that I carry with me, I don't tend to take a dedicated tinder pouch and 15 different things. I take a few things that I know work reliably, and for the most part that's the fire steel with natural resources. So learning to affect your bushcraft outside using a fire steel with natural materials is about 80% of the fires that I light. Then sometimes we just need a bit more speed, or we're in slightly marginal circumstances and we just want to fire. That's where the lighters come in. And we can light small stick fires and things with those. But having some man-made tinder just to get fires lit in the worst situations, that's all I carry, and that's only there if we're in real dire straits and I just need to get a fire going quickly. That's what I carry that for. I don't carry any of the dedicated fire lighting kit. I talk in my courses about modifying your toilet pouch, you know, just a few tissues and some alcohol gel, that sort of thing. I know that's always in my bag as well, so that's like a good backup fire lighting kit. But with that wax card and a fire steel, I can get a fire lit, no problem. The other thing I've got in there is a plastic Ziploc bag, quite a durable one, so not one of the flimsiest ones. That's mostly just for chucking my phone in. If I'm in really, you know, horrible weather and I've not anticipated it, I can just chuck my phone in there and it doesn't get wet. Same with my car keys. Equally, if I, you know, sort of daydreaming a little bit, but hey, you know, if I ever have to do a river crossing unexpectedly, I can throw my electrics in there and they won't get wet. Torch is waterproof, so I don't have to worry about that. But also, again, you know, in those kind of preparing for unexpected circumstances, let's say I'm out for a walk for the day and I've gone slightly off track, you know, we've got 3 different things going wrong, and I've lost phone signal, I break my ankle, and yeah, I'm kind of stuck in one place until rescue comes. I have in here some water purifying tablets that will treat a litre of water. This happens to hold exactly a litre of water, so I can fill that up, probably filter it through a t-shirt or a bandana. So we've got one of our Voyageur bandanas on us, check those out. But yeah, so I can use that, so that's what that's there for. So it's good for like collecting bits of tinder and stuff as well, but mostly just a multi-use thing. So yeah, those are pretty much the contents of my my belt kit. I then have my cuts kit. So this is just a little micro first aid kit to supplement the first aid kit that's in my rucksack. But like I say, if I'm out for a day, or I'm just on my own, or if I'm just out for a couple of hours walking the dog, I'll take this one with me. And it's just kind of in a first instance to treat small wounds until I can get either home or to my main first aid kit in the rucksack. I also advocate carrying this whenever you're going to carry a cutting tool. So if I've got a knife, I carry a first aid kit, and these things live together. So the knife and the first aid kit, they live together. Equally, if I'm picking up my belt knife, I also pick up this, and that's just a force of habit now. I don't even think about it. If I've clipped my belt knife onto my belt, then I've got my first aid kit either in the belt pouch on there as well, or in my pocket. So like I said, the benefit of the pouch is you can just dish stuff out into pockets if you don't want to have the belt on the pouch on your belt. But it's more difficult to keep all that stuff organised out of your pockets if you don't have a pouch. So in here, I've just whipped the whole thing out, and we'll go through it. This is just a waterproof phone case by Cetus Summit that I've wrapped some duct tape over to give it a bit more durability, so it's not going to be as easily punctured or abraded. There's also then duct tape as well for 100 different uses. And hey, again, in the worst case situation, I can fill that up with water and drop in one of the purification tablets that I carry in there, and I can purify water without a fire or a cooking pot, that sort of thing. Alright, so cuts kit. First thing, like I say, this is just for emergency, not emergency, but little cuts and things. If I've nicked my finger using the knife, or I've slipped and like the article that's about to come out in the Bushcraft journal, you slip on a rock and I cut my hand, just having stuff in here. So it's designed to deal with that in the first case. So being able to stop bleeding is a big one. So just immediate, just put something on, stop bleeding, is handy. And the smallest and probably not so surprising tool that I found to absorb blood are these little bullet-sized tampons. They're brilliant. They will absorb loads and loads of blood. They're sterile. You can apply them because they're quite firm. You can apply them with pressure and hold down to stop bleeding. But they're soakable as blood. So a few of those, absolutely brilliant. Also good backup fire lighters. I've then got in another little pouch, and again I'm kind of going through this as well today for myself, just to make sure I've got everything topped up ready for these trips. Got some condoms, your classic kind of survival manual tool, but yeah, you can fill them up with water inside of a sock and carry water around. You can sterilise water inside those as well. They're also really good for treating burns. So if you burn your hand, you want to cool that down obviously as fast as possible to get it in a running stream, that sort of thing. But then the other treatment for a burn is to seal it off from the air, so the air, the air kind of reacts with your open nerves, and it can be really quite painful. So being able to just put a sterile barrier over that that's thin, doesn't constrict for swelling and that sort of thing, and you can still then run cooling water over the top of it, and it's still effective. So I carry a couple of condoms for that. Working with fires quite a lot is generally in the back of my mind. Then, like I say, we've got some sterilisation tablets for water. So these are the ones, I can never remember the name of the chemicals on there. Is it written on them? It'd be on there somewhere. Troclacine. Yeah, troclacine. The Oasis tablets. These are the really potent ones, so they are 17 milligrams to treat 1 litre per tablet. I've got enough to give me 6 days worth of drinking water there, so 2 litres a day for 6 days is enough tablets there. And yeah, so that's what I carry this for. Rather than chlorine or iodine, that sort of thing, the troclacine seems to be the best kind of broad spectrum neutralizer of pathogens. Alright, so those are kind of, some of the emergency tools, I guess. We then got some painkillers, because, if you do cut yourself or bash your shin or something like that, break your ankle, having some painkillers is always handy. And then hay fever tablets, antihistamines. I sometimes get hay fever. I travel with people that sometimes get hay fever. It can just make a day miserable, so having some hay fever tablets in there is always good. Antihistamines also, for allergens and that sort of thing, help a little bit. I've then got some latex-free gloves. So if I'm dealing with myself, for the most part, I'm not going to worry too much about putting gloves on if my hands are clean. But if my hands are dirty, if I've been in the woods all day and I've got brush and bracken and slime all over them from the forest, I can just put the gloves on, and it's one less thing to have to deal with, is having to wash my hand before I do anything, so I can do that. But I'm also vaguely conscious that more often than not I'm going to be helping somebody else outdoors, and being able to put a pair of gloves on does help with that. So I carry gloves. And then the kind of meat of the first aid kit then is the plasters. So we've got some alcohol-free wipes, just a couple. So like I say, the idea of this is it's just that first treatment. So it's not an ongoing treatment kit, it's just the first treatment to get me back home or to my main first aid kit. So just a couple of wipes, and then there's pretty much one of each type of plaster that I feel like I might need. So general plaster, we've got a slightly bigger one. We've then got one of the finger bandages. I really like those. The sort of plasters that have got, they're quite narrow, but they've got an extended strip so you can wrap it around a few times. I really like those for cuts to fingers outdoors. Again, so general plasters, that I've got a couple of duplicates of those. We've got a couple of different sizes of bigger dressings, so they're quite handy as well. Especially cuts to legs, knees, that sort of thing, having a bigger patch. Same thing with that one, so that's I think the biggest dressing I've got in there. There is a big blister waterproof one as well, and then a low adherent pad, so if I have injured myself quite badly, a bigger cut, I can at least stop the bleeding with one of these, pop that on, use some of the gaffer tape and stick that down, or even just hold it on and tie it on with a bandana or something, but having a slightly bigger one. And then the thing that I use quite a lot is the sutures, so being able to close a cut. I'm not talking about big cuts, and just little nicks to fingers and things that tend to be quite deep but really clean with sharp tools. So I've got a good example there. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera, but quite a deep cut to my finger. Rinse that out with some clean drinking water, and then just being able to just nip it shut and put a plaster over it to take most of the bleeding out of the way, and then get home and deal with it, then open it back up, that sort of thing. So sutures. So I think actually I've got everything that I'd normally have in there. I don't need to top anything. Nope, I've not used any of the sterilisation tablets, and that's a fresh pack of painkillers. There we go, that's it. So that's what I carry in my belt pouch. Yeah, that's it. Thanks very much.